This is going to be a long video, and it's about politics, and it's explicitly for my Republican friends. So if you are Republican, please hang out and chat with me for a minute. I have a lot of Republican friends. I'm going to start there. And I say that genuinely. Republican friends, people whom I love. I have Republican family members, people whom I love. And I love them back. So let me start by saying I don't see you as my enemy. You're not. In fact, I was raised Republican. I voted Republican all the way up to McCain. I voted for McCain when he ran against Obama the first time. I voted for Obama the second time because I liked him, but I voted for McCain the first time. I went to Tea Party rallies. This is not me trying to tell you you're wrong. I'm just telling you this is who I am. I grew up listening to Rush Limbaugh. My grandfather was one of the major donors to the Republican Party in New York, and I voted consistently Republican pretty much straight up until Donald Trump. I am also a devout Christian. I lead worship at my church. I am a deacon. I'm ordained. And I am very much faithful and religious. I'm also a person who lives on a farm. I have lived on this farm most of my life. My family has had this farm in our family for 8 generations. So my family's been on this property, in this house, longer than our country has been a country. It is still a farm. This is not some ritzy, fancy, schmancy joint. There's cows up on the hill over there. My family came over with the very first settlers from Ireland. I know exactly where my family landed. I know exactly who my family is. I've traced the history. So I'm about as American as it gets without being a native, which is not to say people who are immigrants who came over after me are not Americans. Y'all are Americans. That's not the point. I believe in the Second Amendment. I own firearms. I am very well trained with those firearms. I believe that people have a right to defend themselves. Full stop. I believe that people should be allowed to have faith. I believe that religion is important. I believe in a lot of things that you believe in. And I know there are a lot of people out there feeling all of this and seeing all of this. And it feels like you have to cleave harder to the Republican Party or lose your identity. And I respect that. I'm not here to tell you not to be a Republican. I'm not. I respect Republicans. I love a lot of them. I agree with a lot of the values, the core values of the traditional Republican Party. I believe in a lot of that. And that isn't changing. That's just a fact. Here's where the challenging part of this conversation is going, though. We know that what's going on right now is wrong. Trying to rewrite the Constitution by executive order, not cool. Trying to consider suspending habeas corpus without the rights of the Constitution applying to everybody. They don't apply to anybody. And all of us down in our bones know something's wrong. That's not right. It doesn't feel right, does it? Like if you sit down with it and think about it, that doesn't feel right. That's not the America we know. The America we know is a place where you can become who you choose to become by working hard. The America that we know and love is liberty and justice for all, right? We swore that every day in school. And I understand that there's a lot of bitterness towards the Democratic Party, for good reason too. I'm not even going to pretend there isn't. The Democratic Party has historically abandoned a lot of the people in farming communities, in rural spaces. And it feels like a lot of people in a lot of slick suits trying to tell us how to live our lives when they have never mucked a stall in their life. I get it. It also feels like a lot of people are trying to shame men for being men. I get that too. It's not how I feel. I think men should be men. I love men. Y'all are great. And I don't see anything wrong with enjoying traditional gender roles if that is the life you want to lead. Nothing wrong with that either. The thing about America is it was founded on freedom. That means the freedom to live your life how you desire to live your life and allowing other people to live their lives how they want to live, as long as they're not hurting anybody. And that is where we kind of run up against things. Whether you like trans folks or not, they aren't harming anybody. We aren't harming anybody because, yeah, I'm trans. I'm transmasculine. I'm not out here hurting anybody. I don't want to hurt anybody. I don't want to hurt myself. I just want to live my life and pat my cows, which most people in my traditional conservative Republican Party here in New Hampshire, it was, I don't care what you do on your side of the fence. Don't fuck with my cows. You can do whatever you want over there. Leave my cows alone. I'll leave your cows alone. We'll get along great. That's the Republican Party I grew up with. The idea that you can do what you want, I can do what I want, we don't hurt each other. If something bad comes along, we help each other out because bad things come along, and nobody helps each other better than a rural community in distress. Cities, you don't necessarily get it, but when a rural community is in distress and there's a disaster, everybody's family. Everybody shows up and gets fed. That is just how it is in the sticks. That is it. And I know that is still how things are in the sticks. I'm not trying to take any of that away from you. I'm not saying you can't be a Republican. Fuck yeah, be a Republican. That's awesome. What's going on right now in the halls of government, the people who are taking charge of this, like Elon Musk with his Nazi salute, Donald Trump, who's literally just a New York real estate developer, who managed to destroy multiple casinos in Las Vegas. Do you have any idea how bad you have to be at your job to have to shutter and bankrupt a casino in Las Vegas? I mean, really. They aren't Republicans down at their core. These people aren't Republicans. This is not the Republican Party that we grew up with and love. These are not the values that we espouse. How many times has Trump cheated on his wives? How many wives has he had because he just drops them and hires the next model to be his wife? Melania barely even looks at it. Like, we know he's just out there using the presidency to get richer. And everyone talks about what a great businessman he is. And sure, but great businessmen in slick suits do one thing. They make money for themselves. Because just like all the other people in slick suits, they don't give a crap about us. They don't care about the farmers. They don't care about the people who are out here struggling every day to make ends meet. They don't care about the people who are dealing with issues relating to soil and whether or not we're being sued for using the wrong fucking seeds because our field happened to cross-pollinate with Monsanto, and now we're getting sued because seeds are now trademarked. And I get it. Like, that's the kind of shit that they don't know about and frankly don't give a fuck about, because if they did, they would have done something. And I mean all of them. The Democrats don't care about it. The Republicans don't care about it. Nobody cares about it. Right now, there's a lot of people in suits trying to draw artificial lines across our country. They're trying to turn neighbors into enemies. They're trying to say that just because you look different than me or live a life different than me, that you're my enemy, that I should hate you, that I should be scared of you, that you're a threat to me somehow. And they are scaring people to the point where scared people do stupid things. That's what January 6th was. It was a bunch of scared people doing scared things. You don't have to have liked Joe Biden, to be clear. I'm not saying that you had to like Biden. If you don't, that's fine. There's stuff he did that I wasn't super thrilled about. But I wasn't voting Trump back in because Trump, that man is an actual criminal. And he's an actual threat to our country. And he actually wants disabled people to die. He's said so. It's on tape. You can find it and go listen to it. It's not a deep fake. It happened before that existed. Grab him by the pussy, right? He says stuff like that. That's not traditional values. That's not respect to women. And yeah, I know locker room talk, blah, blah, blah. But I know a lot of guys and they don't talk like that in the locker room, let me tell you. They might talk about how much they like boobs or like women, but they aren't going to just, usually just talk about blatant sexual assault. Like, how's that respecting women? Ugh. I'm not going to get into the weeds here about specific issues and specific things, and I could, and I can cite sources and we could argue about it, but that's not the point. The point is, you're not my enemy. I'm also not yours. What we want is a country where we can live safely, support our families, enjoy our lives, and be free. We all want the same thing. And to do that, we have to look at some pretty hard truths about people who've lied to us. And they're not going to be comfortable truths. You don't have to become a Democrat. You don't. But take a look at what's happening and decide if that's really what feels right to you. Because I guarantee you, it isn't. And you know it isn't. Let's go back to being friends. Let's go back to being neighbors.